What's up, guys and gals? Right now, I'm in Montevideo, Ecuador. I've been here for like maybe for like 10 days, and I wanted to take a moment to kind of like talk a little about remote work, like job opportunities, and like some of the things that I've learned. Like since I've been traveling, like the majority of people who are remote workers, the majority of them just so happen to be like they work in tech. And outside of tech, um, a lot of them are like working as day traders, working as like we're working in sales online. They do software sales for tech companies. And a big one is I know that like a lot of people are they're teaching English abroad. Like a lot of my YouTuber friends are like they're YouTubers and they just teach English abroad in China, in Shanghai. Well, probably not as much in Shanghai because there's already a lot of English English teachers there, but in China overall. And I think a problem that they typically run across. Let me get this out of my ear. I think a problem that they typically run across is that like those jobs they pay peanuts. Well, okay, I'm not talking about the day trading. I'm not talking about even software sales. But everybody's not really ready to take the leap into software sales, into just doing any kind of sales. And so, like, I've been a software engineer for the past 10 years, and the kind of programming that I've been doing has actually been on the back end, which, for those who are familiar, it's like the front end. Being a programmer, the front end is the application, the input where you're adding information in. You're putting first name, last name. That's all the programmers that are working on that front end are doing like that kind of stuff. And like the people who are working on the back end are like, where's the data gonna go after they put it in? So they're working with databases, they're organizing data, all of that kind of thing. And then there's people who know how to work on the front side, work on the back side. And I get people who kind of ask me a lot, like, what do I do for work? And I get people who also are like, I would probably say that they're teaching English abroad. And like, when you're teaching English abroad, maybe you're looking at about $40,000 a year, maybe even $50,000 a year if you're working at an IB school, which is one of those international schools. You can make more, maybe 50, 60,000. And that's not even a bad amount of money to make when your rent is $450. But no, there's no buts. I would say in addition, I probably would say it's probably much more cool if you made 120,000 though, because it just really just goes that much farther, and you could make a lot more moves. But to be honest, like I think you still gotta learn financial literacy, because I think that a problem that I've had is just it feels like it comes so fast, and if you don't have proper money management skills, you don't have a budget, it can still fly out your hands. because I've been living this year for sure. I qualify for the Foreign Earned um, Income Exclusion Act, which means that up to $125,000 of my yearly salary, I'm not going to pay federal tax on. So right now, I'm living in Quibdó, Colombia, which is, I don't know if y'all seen the video. I might pull it up, but um, but like it's the black side of Colombia. So I kind of like been on a wild ride. I've been doing shit I ain't supposed to be doing. You know, I've been overstaying in different countries, and I'm been trying to get my stuff together. But like for example, the last video that I uploaded was really just about being deported. Well, yeah, I didn't get deported. But just overstaying in countries, and you know, so yeah. So I'm doing a bit better on that. Yeah. So, what I want to do is kind of like, I want to like talk a bit more about these opportunities. You know what? I want to talk more about working in tech. You know, because there ain't a lot of brown-skinned people, you know, who work in tech, and I think if you're brown-skinned, if you're Asian, if you're Indian, if you're whatever color, and if you're like looking to work remote, it's a good opportunity to find you a job in tech. And I think like a job that's in high demand, that's recession proof, that AI is not going to take your job, would definitely be like working as a data analyst, a data engineer, a data scientist, and like these kind of job roles. Because man, I just think it just puts you in like the best spot. Because if you're making like $8,000, you're making $10,000 a month, and you live in where I'm living at, which I'm paying $250 a month for a 3-bedroom apartment in which is in Chocó, Colombia, which is on the west side of Colombia. I don't know. I'll try to post a link. You know what? Let me try to do it right now. Let me go to. So let me do this. Just because I know some people are just not familiar. Some people just ain't familiar, man. But I'll say like in Choco, it is like the black side for real. It is the black side of Colombia, and like here I'm just like we're in the middle of this incredible like party. It's called Sampacho, and so the one for this year, it's already passed. It was in January, uh, but it was incredible. Okay, and like right now I'm actually on my way to Esmeralda. Okay, Esmeralda, Ecuador. Esmeralda, Ecuador is basically it's the capital for all things black here in Ecuador. and it's going to be a really interesting experience, kind of like capture just that kind of vibe. And like, I'm really surprised of all the blackness that I've encountered since I've been here in Ecuador, and it's really been an interesting experience. Okay, it's really been an interesting experience. Um, but yeah, and let me see. So, but I'll drop the link to this video in the chat. So if you're interested, you want to look at it. But yeah, this is the Sanpacho Festival in Quito, the black side of Colombia. All right, all right. So I'm gonna drop that in the chat. Well, I'll do it right now, just so that I don't forget. Hey. Okay, so I'll get that done later. All right. All right. But like the next thing, I kind of like want to show some of these opportunities and kind of show like basically what it is that they do. If you've never heard of a data engineer, this would be a good time for you to get yourself familiar with it. What I basically do is we just organize the data on the backside of different applications. We go out, we get the data, and sometimes we analyze it. But for right now, let's just check some of it out, okay? Okay, so this is the new laptop, all right? Well, it's not a, it's a new laptop to me, okay? So don't hate on my screensaver, all right? It's not a screensaver, my wallpaper. All right. So I know y'all hear a little bit of noise in the background. We got the Russians in the building, okay? All right. So what I want to do is kind of look at some of these job posts and kind of let you know like what people are looking for. So what did I do to kind of like become a data engineer? What I did is I took a boot camp. Then after I took that boot camp, I got hired. Okay, I got hired as a data engineer. Boot camp took maybe about six months, but all in all, maybe it took about a year because the things I had to learn was I had to learn SQL programming. I had to learn some different Microsoft tools, one called SSIS, some different tools, okay? But at the end of the day, it really wasn't that difficult. In the beginning, it was hard as shit, but after going through it, it really wasn't that bad. But it did take an investment of $12,000. But that investment of $12,000 has absolutely paid off since then. All right, so let me take you on a little trip real quick. I'm really getting used to talking to myself. All right. All this is in Spanish because I'm in Ecuador. All right. So, SQL. So, man, this is actually kind of cool. I really like this little setup I got here. I didn't think it'd be as cool. Like, I don't know if y'all are aware, but whatever. I got this thing called a YOLO box, and like it's new, and I'm learning how to use it. But it just allows me to connect my computer, my camera, and kind of switch between them. Yeah. Just give me a second, okay? Come on now. It's looking at Ecuador. Bro. I want United States. There we go. Let me check if I'm getting any comments. Nope, and that's fine. SQL and SSIS. So, I probably would say though, that as a data engineer, it is good to have more skills, you know, knowing how to do SQL, being a SQL programmer and having skills in that, knowing how to do what's called ETL, which is extract, transform, and then load the data or the data. If you know how to do that, that's a really good skill. And then after that, you know how to like do things like make reports, different kinds of dashboards that really just tell stories about the data. And then also adding additional programming languages like Python, which is one. And then using other tools to work with big data like Apache Spark, Apache Hadoop, to working with different types and forms of data. And like, to be honest, if you're able to like continue to build and build on this skill set, it is very reasonable to bring in a $500,000 salary a year as a total compensation, because I think it's highly probable to get like 200K or 250 or something like that, and then from there you can get like stock options and value in the company, and that could push your income higher to like $500,000 a year. All right, but at the same time though, you gotta shoot for more of the bigger companies, you know, who wanna pay them kind of prices. You just gotta like get your courage up, actually. You know, get your skills down and then get your courage up, get your projects up, you know, and then just shoot your shot. All right. All right. So what I want to do is just really just go down the list and like look at some of these different types of jobs that are out here that are on data engineering, okay? And I'm starting by looking for people who are looking for Microsoft data engineers. Let's start there. And then like, so these days, like one thing that I really don't like a lot about like just looking for jobs in general is that sometimes like they're really asking for way too much in their job descriptions. And so what I do at this point is I use ChatGPT to kind of help me to be like, look, this is the job description, okay? And what I want you to do, be like, this is the job description, but what I want you to do for me is to give me a more accurate job title based on the job description.
Прям она и лежит с правой стороны от лодки. А, все, понял. Она и? Нет, это другая, это француженка с первого.
Let's look at this one.
Ага. Она и? Она и? Ага, сейчас появится. Так, поехали. Декабрь. Так, вот этот знак вопроса закрываем. Э, Сколько она в итоге заплатила, Саш? 35. Ну тогда
I do
я
not
15
like giving my
записываю
information
это,
like
и
that.
$5 запишешь пиво, там чек лежит на пиво с пельменем. Так,
Okay.
35.
They're looking for, let me just control A.
Теперь очкарик. Вообще кайф, Сашенька, в городе никого. На пляже никого. Она даже, чебуречница даже не открывает свой локаль, не хочет. Говорит, а никого нет, все дома сидят вообще, отвечают. Тупо вообще. Сегодня уже. Да. Да, что у нас еще? У нас, вот. Э,
Let's see what they're looking for.
так,
All right. So they're looking for one. So Amazon, they pay good money at Amazon. Uh, let's let's even look at some of the salaries. Let's go to Glassdoor.
49.
And so one thing I do recommend, like, let's say you apply at Amazon. Let's say they want to give you the job, and in the beginning, it's like what they're doing is they're asking you like, hey, how much you got paid at your last job? Like, my biggest advice is to not even answer like questions like that. Hola. Not even answer like questions like that. And the reason why, because they trying to,
¿Qué estás haciendo?
hmm?
¿Qué estás haciendo con esta cámara?
Grabando un video. Y,
и очкарик.
employed, not employed, student. And so,
На 2 дня.
employed,
По
set up your
25, да.
experience. Let's say I'm a student.
Букинг. Так,
I'm already logged. Just want them to get out of my face. You're ready to join the conversation. Okay, great. All right. So what I want to do
сейчас все зависит от
It's
курса.
come to
Я их не
Glassdoor.
трогаю, потому что курс упал.
and look at the salaries. Amazon data engineer.
Ну, нет,
Come on.
прям в момент или там до завтра терпит его.
Gdje je tego? On je trenera sa to. To je pogledal.
Ой, сколько сообщений.
Let's try pay scale. Or is it salary.com? S-A-L at salary dot. I'm not even sure. What I'm trying to do is, yeah, something like this. What am I worth? Okay, what should I pay? Okay, I don't want to get too far off. All right. So this job here in particular, how do I zoom in? Oh my goodness. Magnifying glass.
Саш, проверь, пожалуйста, полтинник должен упасть на маму.
Okay. All right, so this job is looking for 1 year of experience as a data engineer, okay? 2 years of analyzing and interpreting data with Redshift, Oracle, NoSQL experience. A bachelor's degree, knowledge of distributed systems as it pertains to data storage and computing, ETL, which is what I spoke about earlier, experience with one or more of these query languages like SQL, which lots of these are really the same. They are similar. And this is experience with one or more scripting language like Python. So Amazon is looking for data engineers, but this, see, I need to even also just take a quick step back because I only want to look at job roles that are remote. I don't want to look at job roles that happen to be remote, man. There we go. There we go. Developing a SQL developer. So basically, here's one. This job is getting paid $128,000 a year full time. Let's look at some of the experience. So the unique thing is a lot of these jobs at this point will be made a lot easier because of ChatGPT and things and tools are part of the programmer's programming tool set has completely changed. For example, I'll give you a few, okay? I'll give you a few right now that's gonna make it so much easier for people who have not been programmers to start programming, okay? One of them is one of Microsoft's new tools. It's called Microsoft Copilot. Okay, and so what it's sent me into this. But this is Microsoft Copilot. But let me actually show you how it really looks. Microsoft Copilot.
Está diciendo muy bonito.
Sí. Let me find a good one. GitHub Copilot. See, there's all different kinds. How about but it's basically, it's a tool that you use in basically the main programming tool that you use, which is called Visual Studio. Here, how about this? Here we go. I'm listening. Copilot AI interface. But it's what it really does, though. You know, and this is not like a complete course, okay? So don't, you know. But what it basically does, it just helps you to remember like some of the coding syntax, how to do stuff that you didn't already know, more specifically, the structure of something. But I think though the problem with it, like that you can't just pop out and just use it without knowing any coding or programming, which is one of the downfalls. And I ain't really showed nothing here that I find to be useful, because this is live and I'm just going off top of the dome right now. But what I'm really trying to show is when you're using Copilot, let me see. Let me just look at some pictures.
En la próxima, en la segunda parte del día, no fin de semana, siempre, dos,
With
no, con chicos y
Visual Studio.
cambiar, con Zoe trabajar en la
Here we go.
Porque el lunes en la mañana viniste a trabajar, hoy también.
No, mañana no necesita, dos es suficiente. Hay dos personas para hacer suficiente para mañana, sí. Y tú, porque tú como las otras personas, es juntos en la mañana y tú en la segunda parte del
Sí,
día.
es que mañana por la Navidad tengo un almuerzo toda la tarde, entonces
¿Por cuándo?
mañana.
Mañana.
Sí.
No, mañana cambiamos.
Okay, so here's a better example. All right. So what you're looking at right here is you're looking at a tool called Visual Studio Code, and what Visual Studio Code is, if you're new to programming, okay, what Visual Studio Code is, it's just your main tool for doing all of your programming. Yeah, it's your main tool for doing all of your programming. It's like when you get a job and they're like, okay, we're using Visual Studio Code, that's the programming language that we're going to use. Excuse me, that's the console. That's the tool that we're using to facilitate the code that you have. And then from there, you got this. This is GitHub Copilot, okay? I've been thinking it's Microsoft Copilot, but the actual name is GitHub Copilot. And so this tool is like when you're writing out your code, it auto-corrects it for you, which is very useful, okay? So the second thing that's really useful, which is more of like an AI tool, is called Replit. And so a cool thing about Replit is you can also use it for coding. And so if there are people who are like, who are not really used to some of these principal or primary coding languages for back-end development, like for the job of a data engineer. So a lot of data engineers, their primary coding languages would be, number one, using Python, or number one, using SQL, number two, using Python. And so the kind of I want to give you an example of how it would probably look. But let's say it'll look something like this. Let's magnify. This is one of my first real lives, by the way. All right. And let's say it'll look something like this, okay? So in this code, which is really indicative of what back-end data engineers do, is number one, there is data in tables, and there could be, of course, more than one table. And they just want to ask questions to that data that a lot of times gets added to a report, okay? And so, for example, in this case, what they're trying to do is get a percentile. Get percentile of the data. I have not seen this before. Okay, what it's doing here, it's looking at the data and it's looking at distinct rows. So it's going in and it's collecting all the rows and all the records that don't have the same department name. And then after it finds all those records that don't have the same, that have a distinct department name, okay, just to be specific. And then from there, it's getting a percentile of that and ordering it by a certain kind of rate. It can get complicated, okay? And then it's taking it from like a human resources table and it's doing some kind of join, which will have the effect of being like a filter on the data. Yeah, I think this is some common stuff that we typically do. And it's kind of interesting. But if you can just look at the bottom, like this is in this example, this is what the output looked like, okay? So normally, what we would do is like, we might want these exact records to like be in a report. So we copy that code, we copy it, we paste it in a report, and these records would come back. And the cool thing is like, whenever the data in the table, whenever it changes, these values will change. So it's not static. Next. And so the cool thing is that sometimes you might not know how to do all that shit, especially in the beginning. And that was a little bit of complicated. We using that percentile function. That's a little bit complicated, okay? But nowadays you got ChatGPT. You know what I'm saying? You got ChatGPT. Create me a SQL query. Create me a SQL query. All right. So here's an example of that, which is basically the same, okay? It's not the exact same, but this is an example of how it looks, you know what I'm saying? And so sometimes the output that you get from ChatGPT won't always be spot on, okay? But it doesn't matter. Because you can always ask another question to get it in line and to make it a bit better, okay? So you can use ChatGPT. You can also use Replit, which is a really cool tool to not only so this is also called an application. Just this is an application, okay? But to make applications in SQL, in Python, or just overall different kinds of apps, okay? And that's freaking interesting because like now with the help of AI, everyone is now a programmer because all you got to do is just know how to use the tools that do the damn programming. I think it's a lot easier than you would think these days, okay? But yeah, if you don't know, now you know. ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot, but also GitHub Copilot, and Replit, which is an AI tool, which you would use in like a web browser. You would ask it the questions, and it would do the development for you. Okay, so that's one thing. Yeah. Okay, what else? So let's go back and look at some more of these jobs. What my actual goal has been is to was to apply for some of these jobs as I'm kind of like walking you guys through them. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. If you guys are interested in that, then yeah. So, a SQL analyst attempt to hire at Gallagher. So one cool thing also about being a SQL developer is like to have SQL skills. Is like there's so many people who need places that need SQL developers. So like there's so many different places that like need SQL developers. Like it's so ubiquitous. It's like Excel. Like imagine if like your primary job was to like work in Excel, and you were just trying to find where could you get a job working in Excel. You're like, look at all the opportunities. Who doesn't use Excel? Like that's what the skill set of SQL is, which is one of the primary skill sets of being a data engineer, is you know how to use SQL. So when I am looking for a job and I'm on the job market, I apply all over the place. Like I apply at Sony, I apply at HP, like I apply at Continental Airlines, I apply at Apple, I apply at Amazon, at Netflix, and there's like all these different companies that you can like apply to. And all over the spectrum, you can apply at a trucking company. You can apply at Airbnb, which is really one of my biggest reasons for making the decision to be a software engineer, to be a programmer, because I wanted to work remote. Number one, I wanted to work remote, and I wanted to have skills that a lot of people don't have. Because these days, like, just fresh out of college, like 60% of the people who are in college, they're not looking to be like software engineers for the most part. And like a crazy thing is I see and I hear a lot about, I heard that like on TikTok, you know, how a lot of people are looking for jobs. I saw a lot of students like in line at some of the top tech companies, and there were like these long lines talking about they can't find a job. That might be the case for them. But I think that if you don't qualify as an intern or as a new student graduate, if you don't qualify to go work at Netflix right now, or if they don't want to hire you or whatever the case, you need to go work for some place that is lesser known. You know, if you can't work at YouTube, go work at Oshan, go work at any other company that is lesser known. Okay. I just want to go over and look at some of these jobs. Okay. A SQL and ETL developer for maximum services. That sounds sexy. Maximum services. No, nobody even knows who the hell they are. You know, like it's not Apple. It's not Netflix. It's not Google. You know, and it's like, man, it do take some hustle. Looking for a job, like always, does take hustle, but you know what I'm saying? All right. So this is a remote job. Maximum is looking for a remote SQL engineer. The SQL engineer assists in the development of software solutions that will meet and exceed business requirements. Let's look a little further. Let me come here. Whoa, Kimosabi. All right. Bro, come on now. Come on, somebody. There we go. Okay. Let's look at these roles real quick. So, and also like some people, like if you're not as tech savvy, okay, if you're not super tech savvy, you feel like, being a data engineer or a developer might not suit you or fit you. So there's also the role of a business analyst. And what the BA does is that um, they understand what the business needs and why it's a problem. And lots of times, these companies are trying to do two big things: either be a of cost avoidance, you either avoid a cost or you reduce the cost. Okay. And a lot of times, like, you work in like a break fix capacity to maintain what they already have and then to build new applications. That's been most of the jobs that I've had. Like I've worked in a break fix capacity, and on top of that, I've built new apps on the existing platform that they already have. And like these days, they have a philosophy of go remote first, which means that like they're putting all of their systems inside the cloud, which means now it's very important to learn how to use Amazon Web Services, and different cloud tools, which is it's just a name with some other shit that you gotta learn. But like once you learn it, and then you get paid, and then you gotta use that money, man, and flip it, man. Flip it, baby, little baby. All right. So let's look at these. But a business analyst, they understand like what's the problem of the business for a specific project or thing or assignment that they are trying to get done, and then they communicate that over to the engineer who's going to do the job. They don't tell them how to do the job, but what they do is they know where are all the resources located for the engineer to do the job. So the business analyst is and should be the point person. Every company or every job you work on, you won't have the luxury of having like a business analyst. So then you got to be the person in your head. What's the problem? What do you need? And you got to come up with a survey of questions, so that you can effectively get the job done. All right. Determine operational feasibility. Let's see what they got going on with this role. Update job knowledge, accomplish engineering, develop software solutions. They want a bachelor's degree with 3 years of experience. Must have additional training, education, develop solutions to a variety of problems. Frequent use and general knowledge of industry practices. They want 3 to 4. This is a junior to mid role. They want you to. This is good. This is right up my alley. This is easy. Looking for some SQL experience, and for you to know how to do SSIS, which is a Microsoft tool that helps you to extract, transform, and load data. Like extract the data from wherever it is, which could be in an Excel file, an XML file. Another database could be inside of API. But you extract the data, and you might do some kind of changes to it. So you might clean it up, and then you load it somewhere else. Extract, transform, and load. And then SSRS. That's just a Microsoft tool. I think it's a bit outdated. Probably most people do. But it's just a tool that they use to make reports. And it's just like, man, Microsoft, there's a lot of jobs working as a Microsoft data engineer, only because if you got Windows and it's on the Microsoft platform, you kind of like, all these companies have like bought into Microsoft. It's like if you do Apple, you do Apple everything. If you do Microsoft, The goal is to do Microsoft everything. However, over the past maybe 5 years, Microsoft kind of like made a mistake. And the mistake that they made was they didn't move fast enough to the cloud. You know, it's like other companies begin to beat them to the cloud, like Amazon, like Google, like these other different companies begin to beat them to the cloud. Most of their tools are heavily focused. Okay, they got servers. Those computers and they're with the Microsoft tools are heavily focused to be not in the cloud. Okay, and I just think that they got beat, but we'll see how that works out for them in the next couple of years. All right. A team player must be able to obtain a government clearance. So this is like a junior level job role. This is a junior level job role. Again, they just want you to know how to do ETL, know how to make reports, and know how to do some SQL coding. Those 3 different skill sets, okay? That's a remote job working for Maximus Services. Maximus. Let's see a bit about who they are, because I don't know who they are. Maximus. Maximus Services. Maximus. All right. Moving people, technology, and government forward. So if you guys are not using ChatGPT, you guys are really behind, okay? I guess since I'm on here, okay, let me see. Maximus Services. Who is Maximus? Moving people, technology, and forward is their tagline. Let's see. Let's see who they are. Let's see. Is the company known for providing technology solutions and consulting services in the areas of healthcare, human service, transportation, and public sector. Their tagline is that it reflects their mission, okay? They work primarily with government agencies to enhance the efficiency and effectiveness of public services. Okay, so additionally, one thing I think to really get the bag, what y'all should be, what we all need to be learning right now. I know that AI is a big buzzword. I definitely think it's a really there's an abundance of jobs working in IT, in tech, and in data. Then there's also big work working with whatever the hell that you do, and then adding AI to it. And getting obtaining more training in AI, to build not only chatbots. So ChatGPT, what you're looking at here, this is a chatbot, okay? But not only this, but to build these AI agents, which is basically you're teaching, you're building an application to follow a process, and that process could be reading your email and then responding to that email. And it could be reading that email, understanding, and then to read the instructions for that particular email. And then after that, getting ChatGPT to reply in an intelligent way. And that's like a 3-step AI agent process. That app does that thing. And that's interesting, okay? That's interesting. But yeah, to build AI agents, building AI agents, and I'm also in this thing, and I'm learning more and more about that. And like, I don't know how great the program is, but like since I'm here, Vijaya, Vidaya, Vijaya. Um, AI chat, AI agents. Here. So, so disclaimer, like I have not taken this course with these guys, but I'm considering it, okay? And I think it's probably like $1,000, but this is just, it's, whoa. It's a course that does teach you how to build AI agents, and I'm interested. Um, I think I have the layout. Let me see. Let me go there. Let me go there. Let me go. I think it could be in my Gmail. AI agents. Vijaya? Agentic. Agentic. A-G-E-N-T. Agentic. Wow. Agentic. It could be in a different one. Let's see.
No jeszcze czego? No to samo. No to samo, daj tylko.
Agentic. I don't really care. VID, PDF. Okay, so I don't know where it is. I don't know where it is right now. I don't know where it is right now. I don't know where it is, but I will say it's an opportunity. All right. So this is a quick live. For those that tune in, I appreciate it.